has increased by 28.6%, accounting for about 17.3% in the total retailing of the society, a year-on-year growth of 3.5 percentage points. In August, the key retailing businesses, including the online sales center as well as supermarkets, has increased by 1.3 percentage points, 1 percentage point, and 1.4 percentage point. Second, we talk about the service sales. In August, the catering industry increased by more than 31 million, a year-on-year growth of 9.7%. Compared to last month, it is about 0.8 percentage points. And we have about 17 billion RMB of the booth revenue for movies. And for the whole year, we have a rapid growth for the booth revenue. For the summer vacation, we have different kind of tourist activities. Between families, for students, we have various activities of tourists. And third, we talk about the daily consumption goods have experienced rapid growth. In August, with the rising price and the tourist activities, we talk about oil products has grown by 19.6%, about 1.2 percentage points over the last month. For the home appliance, office expenditures, they have increased rapidly. And fourth, we talk about the consuming price has experienced mild growth. In August, CPI has increased year-on-year about 2.3%. Over the last month, it is 0.2 percentage points. For the first 8 months, it is about 2% over the last year. For the major cities, we talk about the aggregate goods, a year-on-year growth of 0.4%. Over the last month, a decrease of 0.5. The first 8 months, we have witnessed a stable operation of the national economy. And we say the consumption has been boosted according to our policies. And for the consumption market can maintain a stable development over the future. And this is what I want to make as an announcement, and then I will answer your questions. Thank you from Xinhua News Agency. MOFCOM has mentioned the communication between China and the U.S., and the U.S. has also sent invitation for negotiation. Against this background, the U.S. still impose additional tariff on Chinese goods worth $200 billion. So what do you think? On the 18th of September, we have issued announcements on the additional $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. We say the U.S. behavior has added uncertainty to the bilateral negotiation. We hope the U.S. side can show sincerity and goodwill to take credible measures to rectify the situation and to tackle the China-U.S. trade issue. Thank you. From CCTV, previously the U.S. issued taxes on about 50 billion worth of Chinese goods. We estimate that 60% of the foreign enterprises operating in China will be influenced. Do we have similar estimate for this round of new taxes, and what kind of enterprises will be influenced? Thank you for the question. For the new round of tariff on 200 billion worth of Chinese goods, we are evaluating the influence. Preliminarily, we can see it concerns machinery, light industry, textile, aggregates, pharmaceuticals, and other industries. And for the enterprises influenced, foreign enterprises will account for about 50%. So we can see that the unilateralist protectionism of the U.S. harms not only the bilateral relationship as well as the enterprises and consumers in both countries. These behaviors also jeopardize the security of industrial chain and supply chain around the globe. So we are discussing targeted measures to roll out the measures appropriately to help the enterprises in China, domestic and foreign alike, to tackle and meet the challenge. Thank you. We talk about China's reaction to the new tariff of 200 billion. Previously, we have 4 levels. Then now we focus on 2 levels. So what is your consideration on this? On the 18th of September, the State Council Custom Tariff Commission has made an announcement in answering this question. The U.S. announced a new round of additional tariff on 200 billion worth of Chinese goods. On the 2nd of August, the additional tariff increased to about 25%. And the next day, China announced that we are forced to take countermeasures. We will impose additional 25, 20, 10, and 5% on about $60 billion of American goods. On the 18th of September, the U.S. announced that the new round of additional tariff will enter into force on the 24th of September. And China, on the same day, announced that we will adopt all countermeasures of additional tariff of 10% and 5% in lockstep with the U.S.
I will ask the question in English. The first question is, the U.S. President Donald Trump has accused China of intentionally targeting U.S. farmers, ranchers, and industrial workers because of their loyalty to him. What is China's response to this accusation? Second question is, Chinese state media have said recently that China will not simply win defense in the ongoing trade war with the United States. Does this mean China will start taking more proactive action against the United States instead of just responding to what the U.S. does? Other than the tariffs that have been announced on Tuesday in retaliation, can you tell us what new steps China may take against the U.S. on the trade? The last question is, the trade frictions between China and the U.S. have lasted several months and may continue for some time based on current conditions. What steps is the current Commerce Ministry taking to support exporters affected by the trade frictions with the United States, for both the near term and the long term? Are there any considerations for taking steps that would help exporters affected by the trade war diversify into new markets, or are they being advised to shift their focus towards the domestic market instead, or are there any measures they are considering?
谢谢发言人多多说提问。第一个问题是，美国总统特朗普表示，中方着眼打击美国农民工厂主的产业工人的利益，正因为这些人对他表示出了忠诚。那中方对于这一指控的回应是什么？
The first question is that the Trump administration has accused China of targeting the workers and farmers because they are loyal to Donald Trump. So what is your response? Second, I want to ask that whether China will take proactive countermeasures against the U.S. So what would you share about China's measures concerning trade in addition to imposing additional tariffs? And last, the trade friction between China and the U.S. has maintained for months. So what measures have the MOFCOM take to support the exporters influenced by the trade friction? And for these exporters, will they be suggested to turn their priority to the domestic market? Thank you for your questions. And for your first question, we say that for the countermeasures on the part of China, we take these measures because we are forced to safeguard our legitimate rights, and we need to also safeguard the free trade system in the world. All these are not related to the domestic politics of the U.S. And for the second question, we have never seen similar reports, and we cannot comment on this. And for the third question, in the trade sphere, we will take a series of measures to help the enterprises to tackle possible difficulties and challenges. The existing measures, including trade facilitation measures, such as shortening the time to pass customs, reducing the custom cost, and streamlining the charges on the enterprises. All these measures are totally in line with the requirements of the WTO. Some of the exporters you mentioned have turned their priority and focus into the domestic market. We say that China has huge domestic market, and we have expanding consuming potential. For the foreign enterprises and foreign market-oriented enterprises, they are all exploring China's market because these are the voluntary choices of the enterprises and also the result of the market operation. Thank you from Global Times. And the U.S. announced that the additional tariff on 200 billion Chinese goods will enter into force on the 24th of September. Some speculate that China will depreciate RMB as a response. What is your response? Thank you for the question. Yesterday, the Summit Davos inaugurated. On that occasion, Premier Li has mentioned that China will not depreciate its currency to boost export. The continuous depreciation of RMB is enjoying more disadvantage than advantage. We will stick to the market operation as well as the market-oriented reform, and we will not use RMB exchange rate as a tool to tackle the external disturbances such as trade friction. In the future, we will continue to deepen the market-oriented reform of the exchange rate regime, and we will add to the elasticity of the exchange rate, and we will remain the stability of the currency at a basic equilibrium. Thank you. The Minister Zhu Shan of MOFCOM has announced that entrepreneurs have put forward suggestions on China's business environment and IPR protection. So what are the main contents of these suggestions, and will IPR be the major focus? What measures will MOFCOM take to implement the suggestions and to boost the confidence? On the 17th of September, Minister of Commerce has held a discussion among multinational companies and international companies to listen about the suggestions on China's development. These enterprises are confident for China's market and China's development. They pay close attention to how to participate in China's reform and China's market, and they focus on how to expand their cooperation and investment in China. Some enterprises have offered their suggestions and comments on IPR protection, business environment, and market access. And they have also expressed their concern over the unilateralist protectionism on the part of the U.S. These enterprises express their will and hope that both parties, China and the U.S., can settle the disputes through negotiation. And for specific issues, we are paying efforts to negotiate for settlement. And for the issues of common concern by the enterprises, we can say that Chinese government has always tried to strengthen and improve the business environment, and we have always tried to protect IPR. And we will improve the efficiency of the government, and we will break regional protection to offer equal and equitable treatment for all market players. We will urge relevant authorities and help relevant authorities to offer the service of equal quality to the foreign enterprises to help them to operate in China. Thank you. Thank you. From Phoenix. So you have mentioned about China's free trade zone. So we talk about for the top ranking 20 economies. We say we only have the free trade agreement with South Korea, India, and other 2 countries. We do not have free trade agreement with the most developed countries. So does that mean we still lag behind in negotiating for free trade agreement, or we lack the recognition? So for recognition, I think it is whether we are accepted or recognized by the world. But free trade agreement is not a criterion. Since we enter into the WTO, China has achieved a lot in economic development, and we have made substantial contribution to the world economy. It is recognized by all the world. So we will build free trade network suitable to China's conditions. It is a necessary step for China to develop trade facilitation and trade open up. Since 2002, we started the effort to build free trade zone, and we have already cooperated with 25 countries and regions, reaching about 17 agreements. And we are negotiating with 27 countries and regions concerning 12 free trade zones. And we are studying for the feasibility with about 10 countries and regions. So you talk about the top ranking GDP 10 developed countries. We have not signed bilateral free trade agreement with these countries, but we are engaging with specific countries for the pre-stage study for free trade zone, and we are also cooperating with some of these countries to promote and build free trade zone. So we are willing to discuss and cooperate with more countries to build and to negotiate free trade agreement. Through bilateral or regional free trade arrangement, China will further open up to the world and further facilitate trade and to promote the regional integration and to build a community of shared future. Thank you. Recently, there has been a report about MOFCOM's policies to help foreign investors to invest in listed companies or participate in the mergers and acquisitions. So will this effort be an element influencing domestic enterprises? Now, MOFCOM is cooperating with relevant authorities to revise our regulation on the strategic investment for the foreign enterprises. And on the 19th of July, we take public consultation, and we have also the discussions soliciting the suggestions from the law firms and other market players. The society and public think that this shows China's effort to streamline administration and to open up the market. This has been a positive signal to the market, and this is conducive to boosting the confidence of the enterprises. And this helps the enterprises, including the private companies, to utilize foreign investment, and this also helps us to revitalize the economy. And now we are discussing in detail these kind of policies, and we are trying to improve the regulation draft, and we will try to release and promulgate as soon as possible. Thank you. From CCTV. According to the domestic consuming market, we see that China's auto market has experienced a decline. Since July, we witnessed the first negative growth in a decade. So what are the reasons? The drop in the sales of automobile, is that a main reason for the decline in the auto industry? So what would you say for the next half of year for the auto industry as well as the consuming market. According to the Auto Industry Association, for the first 8 months, we have sold about 18.9 million cars, and the passenger vehicles about 15 million, a year-on-year growth of 2.6%. An increase of about 1.2 percentage points over the last year. The automobile consumption remains stable. For August, the passenger vehicle is about 1.79 million, a decline of about 4.6% over the last year. There has been the following reasons. In 2017, we have a higher base. China's automobile sales has taken the top place in the world for 9 consecutive years, and in 2017, we hit another record with the sales of passenger vehicles reaching about 24 million. And since the second half of 2017, we say that the subsidies and allowance for the cars will expire by the end of 2017. And we say this stimulate the early consumption for the car sales. Second, we say that the reducing of customs will lead the consumers to wait. We adopt new policies for customs and tariffs. The consumers expect the adjustment in the car's price. This will postpone the consumption. For some imported cars, after the price drops, the consumer have more choices, and the consumers are still waiting. As compared to about 1.59 million sales in July, in August we have about more than 2 million sales. So we say, as the adjustment of price for imported cars has coming to an end, the consumers are stopping to wait and trying to buy the cars. Third, we have the change in the consumer structure. The ratio for the first purchase of cars has reduced, and for low-end passenger cars has shrinked in their market share, and we have higher requirements. For middle or high-end cars, SUVs are becoming the mainstay of the market. For the first 8 months, for cars, the sales has increased by 3.7%. For SUVs, the figure is 6.2%, even higher than the general growth for passenger cars for the first 8 months. For the next half of this year, we expect that the auto market will maintain stable growth for the following reasons. First, we are still in a period of growth for the auto consumption. Although car ownership has exceeded 200 million, but for third-tier and fourth-tier cities and central western China, the car ownership is still very low, and we still have the potential in the market. Second, for new energy vehicles, we still have favorable policies, and this will help to expand the ownership of new energy vehicles. For August, the new energy vehicles, the sales has reached about a higher level, and we expect a faster growth over the second half of this year. And third, we are seeing even larger export of automobiles and vehicles. For the August, we export about 760,000 cars. And for the next half of this year, the export will also lift the sales of vehicles. Thank you. As time is limited, we have time for the last question. Thank you. So about the consumption market for the Mid-Autumn Festival and National Day. And due to the typhoon, we see that there is a rise in the price for vegetables and food. So what are the measures taken by MOFCOM to deal with the extreme weathers recently? We say that there has been an influence on the daily necessities. We have launched the second-degree emergency plan. And for the daily necessities in the typhoon-restricted area, we say the supply is stable and the facilities have been repaired and amended. With the Mid-Autumn Day and National Day coming, the MOFCOM is taking every step to secure a stable supply in the market. We will further align the supply and demand. We will organize state-owned enterprises to increase their stock and to expand their source of purchase in Henan, Sichuan, Shandong, and other places. We have staged events to align the producers and consumers. Second, for grain, oil, meat, eggs, and vegetables, these are daily necessities. We will closely monitor the market and we will release timely the information on supply and demand to lead and to guide the operation of enterprises and the life of people. Third, we focus on the quality of the goods, and we will expand the sources and channels for supply and consumption and to satisfy the need for high quality goods. Fourth, we will better prepare for the market fluctuation due to the extreme weathers or accidents, and we will have better plans to keep the stability of the market during the holidays. So this is the end of today's press conference. In the next couple of days, we will have the Mid-Autumn Festival. On behalf of MOFCOM, I wish you a good holiday. Thank you.